Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Seth. Welcome back to the YouTube channel. More Heaven Burns Red content coming at you. Um, three new Memoria, three new SS Memorias that I want to talk about. This banner or these two banners, it's two separate banners. They're probably the best banners that we've gotten in a little while now. And I'm here to explain why. And I'm really excited to talk about this banner. Like, I'm going to get pretty detailed in this one. So, yeah, let's get right into it. Alright, so the first banner, we have two new SS Memorias to celebrate the new event that's coming out. We have SS Biker Yanagi Mion and the Kitsune Kiryu Miya. We're going to talk about Biker Mion first. Her EX skill costs 11 SP. It heals the entire party for a large amount and can overheal an extra 50% DP, so you can get up to 150% total DP. She also gets a normal skill. It costs 10 SP. It's a single target damage that may recover SP. It's not that big of a deal. You can ignore that. We're mainly looking at the EX skill here. It's the same as Race Queen Lisa, who came out like a little while ago. She can only heal, no buffs, but the overheal can help survive hard-hitting attacks and is hard to waste since you can get use out of it even at full HP, because you can go 50% over full HP or DP, sorry. Only slightly more useful than Lisa, only because Mion's SS1 provides a medium heal and a charge buff, while Lisa's SS1 is complete doo-doo. Still, this Memoria is kind of regarded as low tier because charge is not the best buff in the game and cannot be stacked more than once, and 150% DP is also kind of overkill. Mua's 120% DP overheal plus tactical vision is worth way more. It's way more valuable, and it costs the same amount of SP. I give Biker Mion a C, like minus tier. It's still better than Race Queen Lisa, but that's only because of the interject, and it's not by much and is pretty easily replaceable. Like I said, Mua is definitely just 10 times better than her. I'm sorry. But the second Memoria on this banner, Kitsune Kiryu Miya, is a lightning pierce debuffer. It costs 14 SP to use her exclusive skill, kind of a hefty amount. It is a single target lightning attack that lowers defense and exposes enemy weakness. And when it says exposes enemy weakness slash vulnerabilities, it's called, we call it fragile, a lot of the people in the community. So it applies fragile for 2 turns. SP is halved when the enemy is inflicted with fragile already. She also gets a 5 SP normal skill. It's a single target attack that inflicts fear debuff. This fear debuff, it lowers enemy stats by 20 for 2 turns and gives an extra turn after using this normal skill. So she does have the thunder element, but don't be fooled. Kitsune Miya is one of, if not the best, general debuffer in the game by far, although she doesn't have too much competition in that field. Her EX skill is very easy to use and can be easily stacked due to it lasting for 2 turns and the halved SP cost the second time you use it on top of it. Not to mention her normal skill, the second skill that she gets, allows another debuff, the fear debuff, for 2 turns, and it also gives an extra turn. So in overdrive, when you have an abundance of SP, you can stack tons of debuffs, different debuffs from Miya alone. So the reason why Kitsune Miya is so good is because there aren't a lot of general debuffers in the game who can provide as much general debuffs as she can. And just FYI, when I say general debuffs, these are debuffs that aren't restricted to a certain element. Debuffs that do are called, elemental debuffs. She works well in like any team. You can run her as a solo debuffer if you don't have an elemental debuffer, but she gets the most value when you're running a double debuffer composition where you have Miya and another elemental debuffer. She also works especially well with permanent elemental debuffers, because permanent defense down works separately than normal defense down, meaning you can stack it twice on top of the permanent debuffs. However, permanent elemental debuffs and elemental weakness overwrite takes priority, which means your 2 debuffer slots will probably be taken up by those 2 other than Miya. However, if you don't have one or the other, you can easily replace them with Mia and still get amazing value. So Kitsune Mia, for me, gets a A+ tier due to her ease of use and versatility. I think she is slightly better than Onsen Isuzu that's coming out in the future, just because Kitsune Mia can be used in any scenario, while Onsen Isuzu is not good in some cases, like Anachrony. However, Kitsune Mia is a single target general debuffer, while Onsen Isuzu is AoE, so yeah. Next, we have the new SS Natsume Inori. This is on a separate banner. She is a no element slash attacker, and I'm going to be talking about two versions of this Memoria. I don't know if they're going to release her pre-buff or post-buff. So I'm going to talk about both of them today, just because I think pre-buff Inori is like really interesting, and I don't want anyone to get the wrong idea rolling on this banner, so I have to talk about the pre-buff. She does an AoE slash attack that does plus 50% HP when charged and increases crit damage, her own crit damage. And it costs 18 SP. That's a lot of SP. And she also gets a normal skill that costs 7 SP. She raises her own crit rate and charges herself. So pre-buff Inori is a terrible unit in general. Mid to late game, bosses are usually weak to some sort of element, not weapon type. They might even be resistant to no element attacks, like physical normal attacks. So when I had the pleasure of using her pre-buffed, it was so ungodly hard to do any sort of damage to any score challenge or any story bosses at the time. I could not use this Memorial for the life of me. Not to mention the ridiculous amount of SP it costs to reach full damage potential by herself. 7 SP to charge herself, and then 18 for her EX skill is pretty crazy. That's 25 total SP. Like, you can't do that in 2 turns. You can't use these one after the other, is what I mean. You can bring someone like base SS Yanagi Mion to charge her instead, but 18 SP is still the highest cost skill, EX skill in the game, so she will still have SP issues. Plus, Mion is not the best healer in the game since she cannot overheal, and charge is weaker compared to Tac Vision from Mua. Since she has no element as well, she can't get use out of a fielder or elemental buffer, debuffer. So pre-buff is probably around D tier because of her SP count and how hard it is to hit weakness with no element. So yeah, if she comes up pre-buffed, I would recommend getting her just because she will get buffed in the future, and when she does get buffed, she turns into like one of the best Memorias in the entire game. So pre-buff is trash, but now let's talk about the post-buff of this Memoria. She now gets a penetrative critical when charged, and the 50% HP damage is always on the skill regardless of being charged or not. So now, if you don't know about pen crits, is that it always hits as if you are hitting weakness. It doesn't matter their resistance or anything, it will always hit weakness. Even if they have no weakness, they will be weak to this attack. So I didn't mention this earlier because it didn't matter before, but since her EX skill costs 18 SP, the base damage is extremely high. It's probably the highest, I didn't check, but it's probably the highest for any AoE damage dealer, and it's actually higher than a lot of single target damage dealers. Now that she will hit weakness 100% of the time when charged, it is especially important to have Tac Vision buffs or exposing enemy vulnerabilities slash fragile debuffers. This is because she can't get value from any elemental related things like fields buffs or debuffs. However, when master skills get introduced, Kurasatomi can place a field that is non-element specific and increases the damage of all skills by 40%. This is basically the pen crit field if you want to use her. So eventually there will be someone who can place down a field for these Memorias. Since she cannot make use of elemental buffs or debuffs general buffers and debuffers will become her best and basically only choice. The new Kitsune Kiryu Miya is a fantastic general debuffer for single target content, as she can provide both defense down and fragile, as well as a third debuff Fear from her normal skill. Another amazing debuffer is the Onsen Isuzu that I talked about earlier, that will be released soon. That is an AoE general debuffer that greatly lowers defense as well as lowers DP defense. I'll be more specific and have a dedicated video for her release. So don't forget to sub, turn on that bell so you don't miss that, you know what I'm saying? You could also use SS Mikoto Fubuki, as she can place the same debuffs that Kitsune Miya can when she gets her skill upgrade, but you have to be in overdrive to get all of the debuffs off. Although the dark defense down from Fubuki's normal skill won't be useful for Inori, you could also opt for SP generation from base SS Hiragi Kozue if you have her. You could also use base SS Mizuhara Aina, who increases overdrive gauge to help give SP to Inori that way. And this will also allow Fubuki to get all of her debuffs off. SS Yanagi, the base one, can give her charge and heal, like I said earlier. If you don't want to use extra SP for Inori, or you can use Mua, that can give tactical vision plus a 20% overheal, because tac vision works with this Memoria. The possibilities are like basically endless to try and find the right team for her. The new Yanagi, however, does not do much for Inori. It's just a big heal. Yeah, I don't recommend Shiki, as she can give charge from Kantata but can't do anything else for Inori, because Shiki is just not a fantastic unit in general. It's just pretty bad. So I don't recommend using Shiki, but if you really want someone else to provide a charge for her, you can do Shiki. Also, I forgot to mention, but post buff, her normal skill, the 7 SP crit rate and charge buff, it turns into 6 SP. It's not like a huge difference, but it does save a little bit of SP, and I recommend not using another charge buffer, because when she's charged, she gives herself a crit damage buff, and if you use this skill, she charges herself, which activates the condition for her EX skill, and she also raises her own crit rate. So you can use just one instance of your crit buffer onto Inori, and she will have double crit rate, crit damage buffs. She will have double. This also saves SP and buffs from your crit buffers, as in like your crit buffers don't need to give Inori a second crit buff to be at, you know, full double stacked crit buffs. So I think that's pretty important, or else if you use your crit buffers EX skill or whatever, your crit rate, crit damage buffs twice on Inori, she's going to be overcapped and she'll lose out on the crit damage buff that she gives herself. So because of that, I don't recommend any charge buffers anyway, because she doesn't really have any good option, and most Memorias in the game at this point just charge themselves and doesn't rely on another unit or another Memoria to charge them. So post buff Inori is S tier. The only thing holding her back really is her SP count. Everything else she does amazingly. She wipes out bosses. She kills everything super fast. She does as much damage as a single target attacker. That's like a good single target attacker, mind you. She does everything right. You can use her in single target content. She's also AoE. She'll be wrecking AoE bosses if you need her for that, and you don't even need to pull for any elemental AoE damage dealers, because Inori kills them all. She's really good, really versatile. You can use her in any comp just because of, you know, the pen crit. So yeah, amazing. So yeah, that's all for today. Oh my god, I really had a lot of fun writing the script for Inori. It's ridiculous. I have like 2 full pages of only about Inori, and there's the other ones are like 1 page each, but 2 pages for Inori. Pretty awesome. I had really so much fun making this video, and I hope you guys enjoyed watching. Short answer, pull for Inori. She will help you clear so much content. She's future proof because she gets buffed like crazy. I hope she gets released buffed, but if she doesn't, then I highly recommend still pulling for her and just waiting for her to get buffed, because she's not gonna get a solo banner anymore. And I feel like a lot of people say not to pull on solo banners because like it's more value to pull on a banner with 2 units that are really good on rate up instead of just one. But I really recommend this one. Pull for Inori. She's also cool. EXQ looks freaking awesome. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. See you guys in the next one. Bye bye.